Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Saints rookies are going to report to camp here in less than 2 weeks. And among them is Kendre Miller. And I am very, very excited to see Kendre Miller. Rookie out of TCU. Remember, he got hurt in the college football playoff semifinal, so didn't play in the national championship game. So that knee injury kept him out of the title game, but it also kept him out of all the offseason work. So it kept him out of rookie minicamp, OTAs, the mandatory minicamp. So we haven't seen Kendre Miller yet in a Saints uniform. Now, of course, it's worth noting, when you're talking about OTAs and minicamp and all that stuff, there's no pads. So what are you really seeing with that? It's a fair question to ask. Like, you're seeing them run through dummies and, ball security drills, but really it's just to see them out there, to see how they look in the uniform. And it's an opportunity to sort of get up to speed so that whenever you do start camp and you're going full through preseason and everything, you're already sprinting. It's a benefit of all the offseason work. So we didn't get to see that with Kendre Miller, so there's a bit of intrigue. But the other reason there's intrigue with Kendre Miller is it's not just Kendre Miller. It's Kendre Miller that they drafted in round 3, Jamaal Williams, who was one of their real high-ticket free agent acquisitions that they got this offseason. And all of that sort of was coupled with Alvin Kamara's declining production and the legal issues in Las Vegas. So we've all, my hands in the air, we've all spent time this offseason talking about the running backs and how Kamara, because of his contract, where the Saints can off-ramp out of Kamara's contract after this season, and because they've invested in Kendre Miller and invested in Jamaal Williams, we're all just assuming that's going to be a natural transition this year from Kamara to these guys. And look, this was hat tip Ross Jackson, our buddy from Locked On Saints, who caught up with Joel Thomas, who's the Saints running backs coach, during OTAs. And I'm going to read this quote for you. It's about 3 lines, but it's a quote from LSU running backs coach Joel Thomas about Kendre Miller. Quote, "The first thing is he has the ability to finish the long ball. You saw that against Texas and some of the other games. He's got this nice, smooth patience about him. He doesn't panic in the hole. You always feel like he's falling forward. He's got good pad leverage. His feet aren't heavy. He talks about the size of his feet, but they aren't heavy, and they don't get stuck in the ground. He's got good contact balance." The other thing, finally, that, again, the Saints running backs coach, Joel Thomas, said, quote, "He was a top 5 running back easily in the draft. Film doesn't lie," end quote. So you see that. Like, the Saints running back coach loves him, is gushing about him. You took him in round 3 when you had already signed Jamaal Williams, which, what else are you to believe but they're devaluing Alvin Kamara? And then there was this, which made me think, man, are we burying Alvin Kamara way too soon? So one of the things that ESPN is doing right now is their whole position rankings, and y'all know my feelings, y'all. I don't love position rankings. I don't love everybody's lists in the summer and all that stuff, but this thing that ESPN does is different because it's not just writers saying, like, they go out and they anonymously survey coaches and executives and scouts, like people in the NFL, to get their honest evaluation of these players anonymously. So because you're granted anonymity, you can be more candid. So I'm going to put more stock into that. And there's some stuff here that you would expect. They got Nick Chubb, number 1. Nick Chubb from Cleveland, which I thought was interesting to see Chubb number 1. But I don't really have a problem with Chubb being 1. They've got Christian McCaffrey, number 2. Of course, McCaffrey came into the league with Alvin Kamara, is now over there in San Francisco. Josh Jacobs, former first-rounder with the Raiders, 3. Saquon, 4. Be really interesting to see how Saquon does coming off of injury this year. Derrick Henry, 5, who was number 1 on the list a year ago. Jonathan Taylor of the Colts, 6. And then there's Kamara at 7. That's the thing that really, really stood out to me. They got Alvin Kamara 7 on this list. After a year where he failed to eclipse 900 rushing yards for the past 2 seasons, by the way. And they still have him ahead of Dalvin Cook, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, Dameon Pierce, Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, Ramondre Stevenson, Kenneth Walker, who for much of the season last year was in the conversation almost as a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year until he got hurt. So to see Kamara not only in the top 10, but like firmly in the top 10 at 7 on this list as determined by scouts and executives and coaches was interesting. And part of what they say is Kamara was one of the toughest evaluations on the list. Former top 5 back was considerably below the top 6 in this year's voting, and the numbers suggest decline. They mention the failing to eclipse 900 rush yards the last 2 years, producing 3 700-plus receiving yards with Breeze, but failed to eclipse 500 in each of the past 2. But they mention that Kamara is still one of the NFL's unique skill players. The only player, how about this? Kamara is the only player over the past 3 seasons in the NFL to lead his team in both rushing and receiving over the last 3 years. So even in spite of what we see as declining production, he's still producing at a clip that nobody else in the NFL is. So it's pretty fascinating. And one AFC scout said, losing Sean Payton and Drew Brees really hurt him, but the skill set is still one of the best. Quote, I haven't seen a drop-off there, meaning he hasn't seen a drop-off in the skill set with Alvin Kamara. And maybe that's the thing we have to remember. The skill set has still been there. He's still explosive. Maybe what's hurt Kamara is losing Mark Ingram has made him have to shoulder more of a between the tackles load. He hasn't been able to do exactly the things he did with Peyton and Breeze, how he functioned within the offense. And then there's the injuries. You know, Kamara, only once in his career, his rookie year, has he played a full season. He missed a game in 2018. He missed 2 games in 2019. He missed a game in 2020. He missed 3 games in 2021, and he missed 2 games last year. So the fact that he's missing games and been injured and trying to play through injury at times, well, has also affected him. So maybe the thing that we should be focusing on with Kamara isn't so much is he declining. It's will the addition of Jamaal Williams and Kendre Miller take some of that pressure off of Kamara the way it did when Mark Ingram was there and when Latavius Murray was there, and allow him to achieve that level again? Do you have the Murray drop? You should see it up there. It's on there. Hit it.
Murray, present.
Thank you. Musso's not here. That's why we missed that. No worries, Alondra. I should have given you a heads up. But my point is, maybe we are just overlooking Alvin Kamara, and I'm guilty of it as well because I love Alvin Kamara. He's literally one of my favorite New Orleans Saints players of all time. But I always say actions speak louder than words. And when I see you draft Kendre Miller, you sign Jamaal Williams, you can off-ramp out of Kamara's contract this year, I'm looking at it going, they're moving on from Alvin Kamara. Or maybe this is a year where they're going to allow Kamara to go back and do the things he did that made him very successful when he was a tandem back with another guy who was really good. We'll see. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.